Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at all Helping Parents Heal meetings is voluntary. All discussions that take place at affiliate-led meetings are confidential. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with our children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here. You're in for a wonderful, wonderful time with Gordon and Jackie. Thank you.
Yes, you definitely are. And I just want to quickly introduce Gordon so that you know a little bit more about him in case you have been living under a rock for the past year or so. But Gordon Smith is an international medium, public figure, and author. He is hailed by the UK's media as Britain's most accurate medium. Gordon has been the subject of 7 years of testing at Glasgow University by Emeritus Professor Archie Roy, head of the Scottish Society of Psychical Research, whose findings were published in 3 scientific journals. He's internationally recognized as one of the world's leading psychic mediums, spiritual teachers, and author of over 20 books that have sold over 1 million copies in many different languages. Gordon has earned the reputation of being an authentic, all-round expert in spiritual awareness and psychic studies. You can learn more about Gordon by visiting his website, which is www.gordonsmith.com. But also, I just want to say that Gordon and Jackie have very kindly been doing fundraising efforts on a sister site. And I know that they're going to tell you a little bit more for the conference, which is very, very exciting to be able to allow more parents and families to attend the conference. And we are very grateful for that. So this website has a link off of it to his new website that is specifically for helping us to bring more families to the conference. And without further ado, and thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Gordon and Jackie. Please join me in welcoming Gordon Smith, Evidential Medium. Welcome, Gordon.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth and Irene, and welcome to everyone who has taken the time to join us. For me, it's always a pleasure and an absolute privilege to work for the spirit world. I've been doing this so long. It feels like a past life that's just continued into this life. It's the most wonderful thing that I've been able to use to help people who have had loss, and also people who don't understand beyond this world, because a lot of people live in this world fearing the end of it, not totally understanding that the end of it is not actually an end. It is a mere change. I do not wish to make that sound so simple for anybody who's really hurting. Just think, oh, it's easy for him to say that. That's not what I mean. But having worked so many times in my life with parents who have lost family, children, with many, many families and losses of all different descriptions, and seen the evidence that's come through, it just tells me the one thing that I'm certain of, and I say everywhere I go, that you cannot die. You cannot die for the life of you. I say this time and time again because I know it, and I know it through experience, not belief. I think it's a different thing when you're talking about your belief in something, but to have so much a body of evidence, it goes beyond belief, and that's the way I would put it. So for me, someone who was brought up in a very non-religious background, there was nobody practicing any main religion in my family when I was a little boy. So I wasn't guided to my spiritual practice by any parent or any particular person, any peers. It just was something that occurred. And I realized as I got older that this was part of my life. It wasn't dominating my life. It was there, always at the side. And when I was a young man, I had an experience where a colleague of mine, her brother died. And on the moment of his death, he appeared in my bedroom. And I had seen things like this as a kid. As a little boy, I'd seen people appear. I had voices that gave me messages, which turned out to be correct, quite correct. So though these things happened when I was a child, as a child, you tend not to question such things. Children just move on to the next episode of their life without questioning why this, why that. They just go on. And that's what I did. But as a young adult, I realized something had happened because there was a feeling that accompanied it. And it was a big feeling. It kind of vibrated all around me. And it lasted for quite a while. And I realized this has happened to me through my life. This sense of something out here vibrating. Whenever I have one of these, as I would call them, moments, because I had no education in spiritualism, I had no knowledge really of a spirit world other than what I experienced. So for me, this phenomena just became a thing the moment I put my foot on the next step of my path. I took my friend whose brother had died to a spiritualist church. I'd never even heard that term, but she asked me to help her find a medium. And in my head, I thought, aren't mediums like creepy people? Aren't they people, I don't know if I would trust these people. And I went along to the spiritualist church with my friend, and the medium who came onto the stage immediately looked at me and she said, "Oh my God, there's a medium in the front row." And I looked behind me, as you do, who's the medium? And the lady kind of called me out to say, "You are a medium." And she said, "The lady beside you, did you tell her what you saw?" I never told my friend that I saw her brother when he died. I just didn't know how to. I wasn't a practicing medium. I didn't know if that was the right thing to do. Anyway, as so happened, the medium who was on the stage that night encouraged me to come back and to learn how to use my gift. And I thought, well, it's only a gift if I can do something with it. In my experience, it had been very random. Things happened, but I never made them happen. I just happened to be there when they happened. So I thought, well, if there's a way to control it and learn about it, I'll do it. And I did. I was lucky to find a great teacher, wonderful woman called Mrs. Primrose, who immediately recognized that I had some sort of abilities, I believe. She told me that some years later. She said, "Son, when you came through the doors of my church, you were already a medium." She said, "But what I needed to do was develop the person. Your gift of mediumship was there. I wanted to bring out the best in you so that you would be responsible when you work with people who have had loss." And this is really important because many people today go to learn to be mediums to become a medium. Well, I never actually did that. I went to try and understand it and understand me and understand life. And it's only through that that you truly get a sense of real empathy and compassion. And if you don't have those, your mediumship will just be a clever trick. You got to have a deeper part of self that will connect with people's loss. And then it becomes a gift. Then it becomes magical almost, to the point that you bring two worlds together. You connect one mind to another, or you don't connect it, you reconnect it. Because the people in this living world that we call our living world, it's us who have lost the channel. And I'm going to say it that way. Tonight, I'll talk a lot about channels and frequencies. So if you think about it, everybody on this platform tonight has lost somebody dear to them. So you were in some form of mental and emotional connection with that person when they were a living person. But when they die, it's a bit like you've lost the signal. For people in the everyday world who are not mediums, that's what it's like. I can't find my signal. I can't find the frequency. It's like a radio that just will not find the station. How the hell do I reconnect? And that's really what it is. Through my life as a medium, being able to connect for people was wonderful. And I've done it hundreds of thousands of times, if not more. But now I realize the frequency's changing. I can do more good if I can help people connect themselves, reconnect with their loved ones. I can get more people to feel the power of their own spirit family than I can giving out one or two messages. So this is where the spirit world have taken me in all these years, almost 40 years I've been doing this, and I've learned how to be the trainee and do my due diligence and study and learn and practice. I've learned how to be the accomplished medium who I'm so proud to say had a good reputation, has a good reputation, because I did my work to help people first. That was my first thing. And that's helped me to gain the respect even of the greatest skeptics. Because when they've come at me the way they will at other mediums, I don't defend anything I do. I let what I do speak for itself. So when people say, but there must be charlatans out there, and I'll say, oh yeah, but I would spot them quicker than you would. And please believe me, I do. And you know, they'll say things, but don't you read body language? And I'll say, well, I was a hairdresser for 23 years. I think I'm pretty good at reading body language. But even reading body language wouldn't make me know somebody's dead father's name or his address or where he lived. No matter how you sit or move, you cannot give away information like that. I said, so you need to look deeper into where I'm gaining the information that's coming through. And that was one of the reasons I took part in scientific tests, so that I could not prove to myself, I already had a good feeling that it was real. But while I was in that young stage, you're very raw, very fresh, and you want to prove things. In those days, I wanted to prove it. Once I'd done that, I stopped having that need to prove it. And I thought, no, this isn't to prove to anyone else. This is to help people. And as soon as I made that conscious note to myself, I found that I was being offered places to go and work with people, mostly who had lost children for some reason. And the first of those was over in Italy, where I travelled with several other mediums, well-respected mediums in our field. And we sat with parents, mostly of Italian families who had lost children. And I think to that point, that was the best work I was ever involved in, was to see a whole family coming in, and they were all struggling in different ways. And it was really quite a lesson in how to work with people's grief en masse as a family. And it looks to me now like all of this was preparation. All of this was preparation for where I am now. Every single step that the spirit world have guided me has been preparation for what follows. So standing on stages in front of thousands of people, you know, that was a bit nerve-wracking at first, but then you realize you're touching so many people. But equally, you're proving to yourself, this is how much I believe in what I do. This is how much I know, because I'm happy to stand up in front of thousands of people and feel no nerves, but just pure trust in the gift that I was given. And that's the most wonderful occasion when you can share that and you can bring everybody into your frequency. Because if you are that type of medium who is very certain of what they're doing, and they don't fish around and can somebody understand a dead person? Does somebody know a woman who died? Somebody know a man who died? And all this. When you're very certain of what you're doing, because you've done it time after time after time, then the people trust you. They feel your openness and they feel it's an okay place to go to. Many people, when they've come along to watch either what I do publicly or have a one-to-one reading, when I did more, often would say, when I left, I actually felt my kid with me. I felt I talked to my daughter today or my son. And I always remember a beautiful story where a lady who was a very staunch Christian in the north of Scotland, and she came along to see me. She had no belief in life after death, but the church that she attended couldn't really help her find what she needed at that moment. So she reached out to a spiritualist movement who led her to me. I'd never met the woman in my life. I'd never spoken with her on a telephone. And I take nothing to these things. I have no magic tricks. It's just me. And this is who I am. I don't change anything. That's it. And I sat down with the lady and I just said, have you had a reading? And I could tell by her response that she hadn't. She just looked like a frightened animal in the headlights. She looked terrified. And I said, ma'am, can I just ask you to please relax? I said, at worst, this will be a conversation. That's the worst that will happen today. I need you to relax. Take a breath. Come on, talk to me. And she, and I said, you've traveled a bit. And she said, yeah. And I said, look, I'm not trying to fish for information. I need you to make a noise, make a sound. Let this out. You're holding all in here. And she just relaxed. And as soon as she did, I said, oh, Alan's here. And that was the first words that came. Alan's here. It's your boy. Right. I said, oh, he shows me he died in a motorbike accident. We had the evidence done within 30 seconds. He was age 32. He was married to Sam. Da, 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 da. And she just looked at me as though, where are you getting it from? And she was bewildered, completely bewildered. And I just blathered on and talked on the way I normally do. And, oh, the other thing is, he's just told me this and that. And it was ridiculous things. I always remember there was one piece of evidence that she ended up, she just burst out laughing and crying all at once when I said, he told me you went to the toilet this morning and you there in front of you was an owl, a bird, an owl. And she just burst into tears and laughter. And she said, oh my God. And it was a private joke between she and her son. And he had bought her a toilet seat with an owl on it. So every time she went to the toilet, she felt as though she was being watched. So, I mean, silly things like that. But the beautiful thing was that that lady went home and felt great because she went home to tell the rest of her family, Alan was really with me. She said, and this guy is not a nutter. He's not crazy. He's just an ordinary guy. And there was no frills, no spills, no entertainment. She said his house was very, very ordinary, just a simple house. And just one day, the phone rang, and it was before we had cell phones. You didn't know who was calling. Well, some people didn't know who was calling. And I happened to pick the phone up, and I said, Mrs. Bright, which was her name. I said, Mrs. Bright. She said, do you know everybody that calls you? And I said, no, I actually don't. I said, but I have your son here. Right before I pick up the phone, Alan's here. I said, and he wants you to know it's okay to come back, and yes, bring his brother. And there was no reply. I said, are you okay? Oh, wow. She said, and I gave her a date. And I said, okay. I said, don't be so surprised. And that was fine. Now, in the meantime, my very ordinary little house, flat, apartment, whatever, a friend came to stay with me who owned a new age shop. And she said, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff I brought from the shop. Can I throw it around? And I said, yeah, go for it. Well, she made my house look like an old fortune teller's caravan. We had Indian throws everywhere, crystal balls, giant pieces of amethyst. I mean, it was the most opposite of what my house was when this lady brought her son. As I opened the door, she said, oh, what happened? And I said, oh, do you like it? And I said, it's not mine, it's my friend's. Well, her son, who was a scientist, the other boy, came in and he just shook his head. So I knew it, Mother. You've gone to see some crazy wacko medium who lives in a house that's full of colours and crystals. And we sat down, and 2 minutes into it, and I said, okay, Alan's here. And the son said, can he prove something to me? And I didn't think it, or it just came out my mouth. I said, you've got his watch in your pocket and a whistle that came from a club that you both attended. You brought those 2 items. And his jaw dropped, and I said, while you're here, just let me tell you, your wife's pregnant. And he looked at his mum, and they looked back at each other. And he'd only learned that morning that his wife was pregnant. I said, well, Alan's here. He sees it. He knows it. So the thought you sent out to Alan, do you know that his wife's pregnant? That's his way of answering you, not me. I'm the radio, I'm the telephone. I said, but I need you, when you leave here, to trust your brother, because you're going to be in an occasion in France, and I need you to listen to his mother. I said, there's going to be a point where you're going to get worried, but remember, you heard it here first, all is well. And that lad went missing on a skiing trip in France. And his mum phoned me and she said, Ian's missing. And I said, and what did you get told? He'll be okay. And hours later, he was okay. And again, it just reinforced their now belief. You know, that's how belief grows. That lady had no belief. And then her belief grew from into more than belief, an understanding, a reality. And guys, this is what's important for you. Because when you've lost somebody that close, Alan was just her everything. And to go from not being a believer, but desperate, absolutely desperate, just for one thing, please let me know he's okay. Every parent I have sat with, and that is many, many thousands, have all wanted that same answer. Are they okay? And that's the first thing they come through and tell us. We're okay. I've never had a message from a spirit who's not okay. They're okay. And that's where I believe my message has been taken to helping parents heal. As I do less and less in spiritual churches and things like that, which there's many mediums out there who can do that, I'd rather let the spirit guide me to where I have a worth, to where the words that come through me touch people's hearts, where they heal people and take them to a new understanding, like Mrs. Bright, who in herself became a bright, shining light for other people, for other mums. And she hadn't heard, there wasn't a Helping Parents Heal then. And she championed as many people as she could, based on that 2 messages that she got through me and through spirit. I'm one of the medium. So for every parent that gets that help, imagine how many you can help. So if I can give out some messages to people, they multiply. But not just that, the knowledge grows. And this is what's important about tonight, guys. The spirit world have shown me, since I started, that people's understanding of their lost loved ones are like a kind of brightly lit earthly life. You know, they're all brightly lit and da-da-da-da-da. And that's how people used to believe, and some of them, many still see it. And it's not a case of believing it. It's a case of how you understand it. Some people need to know, who are they with? Have they met my mum? Have they met my dad? And da-da-da-da-da. So some people have those requirements in their message. And a medium can help find those things to bring peace of mind, to give some kind of, it's okay, they've answered that question. But then there's a point where you need more than that. You need a sense of their life force. And that's what I want to do with you guys tonight. You see, everybody thinks if I close my eyes, I'll see them. But that's not true, because they're not people, they're spirit. And as spirit, they will touch your mind in the way that you can best register it. So many people say, you know, I close my eyes and I try all these things, I still can't see my daughter. And I'll say, but can you feel her? What do you mean? Do you feel any sensations? Well, yeah, I always feel my hair being touched. And I'll say, well, that's how she's coming to you. She's letting you feel her. So you're asking to see her, but she's giving you. This is our connection we have through feeling. You might get some who get taken back in their memories. The spirit can take you back to a happy memory of theirs because you're stuck on a sad one. And that's what mediums do. Mediums will take you right back to a point where you can remember laughing with them, not crying for them. So our work over the years is changing to try and help you to feel the vibration of your loved ones. And that way I can hopefully invite 100 or more people tonight to sit in my vibration. In all these years I've been sitting in the power with spirit, it's to bring people in with me. And doing it to one or two and families and things is fine. But when you can do it on something like this, to a mass of people, and just open up your vibe, which is all I'll do anyway, and I'll talk you to a place where your kids are. Because I go there a lot, and they let me. And that's what's really, really nice. It's not that far. We don't really have to travel. If anything, we have to not travel. We have to learn to dial it back with the thinking mind, the brain. We've got to learn how to not let the brain interfere and say, I want, give me, why not this? And all of that stuff competes with your natural sensitivity. So try to come with me here and feel. Just feel the energy, because that's what your loved ones are right now, pure energy. Now that energy can manifest back in a form that you recognize, but feel the energy first. Don't be in a rush. Feel the vibe, feel the frequency change. As I said earlier, we're all just radios trying to pick up a signal. So what I'm going to try and do is amplify the signal so that we can open a space, a special space, a space that is sacred and has a two-door street that goes through the spirit world here. It really is a place where two worlds meet. So I'm going to ask you to join me. And even though those of you who don't meditate are that, this isn't really a meditation. This is, well, it's a raising of vibration. So the way we raise vibration in its simplest terms is, first of all, you make all the heavy stuff, the hard body, this, to make it relaxed. Because only then, and it's only when you put the hard body into a stasis, a state of relaxation, that the mind can actually start to expand. Now, some of you may even feel your mind almost breathing, that there's a pattern of movement or a rhythm of you going around your body. I often say to people, if any of you have ever worked with pendulums and things, and it goes like this or it does this, that sometimes happens to your light body the moment you relax your hard body. You start to feel this sense of lightness. Some may even feel a palpitation, like their heart moving faster. And it's not actually your heart, it's out here beyond the physical. So this is us just in a simple exercise in building our own sensitivity. So we sit with our back as straight as our body will allow, but without causing any stress or tension. Just get comfortable. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And as you breathe out, relax your shoulders. And just breathe like this for a moment. Pulling in deep breaths into your body and just exhaling, relaxing and releasing any tension or stress. And very soon you will find that your body finds its own natural rhythm of breathing. And just allow that to occur. Just feel the weight of your body relaxing, settling into the chair, connected to the ground, however you are sitting. And we relax our mind. And the best way to relax the mind is to give it nothing to do. So we tell ourselves, in this moment, there's absolutely nothing to accomplish. Absolutely nothing to achieve other than a quiet mind. If any questions arise, just let them drift away, like a cloud in an endless sky. Just let it go. Thoughts may come, but we do not follow them. And just be aware of the atmosphere in the space outside your physical body. Take a moment to feel the so-called emptiness around you. And just allow your mind to expand. Your ability to sense. Let it grow into that emptiness. It's in this space where we can pick up the higher frequency, the vibration of spirit. This is where your loved ones can truly connect. When your own mind is not confused with thoughts, and your body is at peace. Just send out a thought of welcome. Use their name, use their memory. Just allow them to be close to you. And just feel their light. As you expand into your light body, feel their light. Because when light meets light, there is almost a sense of physicality. So be aware of their touch as their light touches yours. And just let that bring back any feelings of joy, of love, of moments shared, or any messages, answers to things you've been asking. Sit for a moment and let them give to you. They know exactly how you've been feeling. So let them love you. Let them heal you. Just let them hold you. just take this moment to share anything that's been on your mind that you want to share with them. Tell them or ask them anything that's uppermost in your mind. Just allow them to work with it. And just for a moment, try to visualize all those light beings, all those children together, all connected, part of the same light, holding you in that light, in the joy of spirit. Feel the joy of being allowed to be close to you. And just thank them for stepping into your space, for helping create this in-between world and this special moment of reconnection. Just holding that special spiritual joy. Just take a breath. And just start to bring yourself slowly back to the awareness of your physical body, relaxed in your own room. And just feel a sense of grounding. With every breath you take, you will become a little bit more aware, a bit more focused, until you feel ready to open your eyes and maybe stretch just to ground yourself back in your room. Okay. All right. So that's really a simple little practice that, as a medium, something I do before I work with other families. I do it very quickly in a couple of minutes, but I just open up my space so that I can let the spirit of somebody else's family come, and then we can invite the people to come in, and so that they walk away and they feel the experience of spirit, not just words, not just a message from a medium, but an actual experience of it. And because I do it all the time, and because I've done it for years, I no longer feel this sense of excitement about it the way people do when they first feel, oh, somebody actually touched me, or I really did feel a vibration. But the good thing about that is I don't react to it. Some people do, but I really don't. But that then means that I can stay in this without ever feeling any sense of disturbance or, any emotional connection to it. Because as a medium, I cannot get emotional when it comes to this. I have to be on the side. One of the biggest jobs any medium will have is to be an emotional lifeguard. So we don't go into emotional seas, we pull people from them. We save people from that. And this is where you train. As my teacher, Mrs. Primrose, taught me, I didn't need to train you as a medium, I needed to train you as a person, so that you had the responsibility to use your gifts on people, on the public, because that's really, really important, guys. Especially, you all know what it's like to have a moment where you can actually be with your loved one. It's sacred, and it should be like that. Even from the medium's point of view, you open up that sacred space, and that then becomes a very special thing. So, guys, what I would love to do is have you ask questions. Whether you do it through chat and one of your lovely ladies will read them out, that's perfect. However you want to do it, I'm open to take some questions from people, because I'm sure lots of you have questions that you'd love to ask a medium. I'm more than happy to do that.
I'm sure we have lots of questions. I think that they
Yes.
are coming back to a state of being able to ask questions, because for myself, I'm still kind of over there, which is wonderful.
That was
And
beautiful, Gordon. Thank you.
just such a beautiful,
Mm.
beautiful meditation. And Jackie is saying that there are more free meditations on Gordon's website, and HPH also has some on our own page as well. Let's see. So Jennifer Chino is saying, I want to connect with my son. Please help. Do you have tools that go beyond maybe the meditation, things that she should be doing every day to be able to help her connect with her son?
Well, I think one of the first things that I would tell any person, whether it be parents or not, is to keep the open communication. A lot of people limit what they do, or they'll say, I can't do this or I can't do that. Telling yourself you can't do something will prevent you from ever doing it. So you have an open morning with your son, and you say, okay, I'm going to be open to whatever you give me today. Direct me, I'll leave it in your hands. Because we have to learn to build up a trust with this invisible world. So just because somebody tells you to do something doesn't mean to say it's going to appear. So you take control of the narrative in this one and say, okay, today I'm going to leave it open, and I want you to, if you can, show me something or guide me to something so I know it's you. So you've got to build that communication with them, because remember, they can't use voice anymore. So they're going to have to work within your energy, guide your mind to a place. It could be a bookstore, and all of a sudden the favorite book appears. It could be a place you go and the favorite record comes on. And then you start to go, oh, if that was really you, can you take me and show me something else? So we build up a trust slowly, slowly. If you ask for everything to happen in one go, it probably won't. But even if it did, you wouldn't like that, because then you would feel you had it all. So you want to have a life with them, not one message with them. So you want to continue your conversations. You know, one of my lovely ladies that I've worked with for some years, when her boy was killed, at first she used to tell people, when they asked, how many children do you have? She'd say 2. And after she had her readings and I gave her practices like this, she would not always say, I have 3, but one's in heaven. And we talk every day. And she kept it to that. Every morning she'd ask him, you okay? If it's not today, it's okay. I trust you. But if there's something you can guide me to, and leave it open. Don't close the narrative by saying it needs to be. Don't. Let them show you what they can do. And then start to work on their frequency and their language. Because everybody receives spirit messages differently. Even mediums all receive spirit in their own way. So open every morning and just see what comes. And I'm sure your boy will do his best.
That's beautiful. I also have someone here saying, Mary's saying, I talk to my son like he's right here. I think that the more that we realize that they're right here and we talk to them like they're right here, they will be right here with us. And we recognize the signs that they're sending us. Would you
I think
say?
that's perfect. Yeah, it really is. I mean, if you think the difference between me as a medium, because I know they're there, then that's why I tell people, your dad's here, his name's Billy, and he did, because I know they're there. So I have no problem doing that in front of lots of people. And I will be judged and assessed by so many people as I do it, but I don't care. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it for the spirit and for the people who are here. So build that trust and knowledge, not belief.
Yeah. Did you see Amber's question, Elizabeth? I think that's a great question.
Yeah. Go ahead and ask Amber's, yeah.
Amber is asking, I have a question about whether I'll be able to connect, given the fact that my son was mad at me when he passed.
Okay, yeah, of course. I mean, somebody being mad at you just tells you that, you know, he had a relationship where you could be mad at each other and so on and so forth. Being mad at each other is a human thing, not a spirit thing. So beyond the physical and beyond the spectrum of emotions that we have, and the one that's worse than the anger is the guilt. So try and lose that, because that will do you more damage than his anger. One of the greatest messages that ever came through in my life was to an Italian mother whose son swore at her before he died. And during the reading, I managed to recreate the Italian swear words. And the mother I thought I'd insulted her. And she laughed and cried. And she said, that was his last words to me. And it wasn't very nice. But she knew it was her son. And it made her feel good. It made her feel good. So don't worry about that. You know, being mad doesn't last. It only lasts a little moment. And it certainly doesn't live in the spirit world. It lives in our heads.
Wonderful. Yes. Do you have another one, Elizabeth, or you want me to?
Well, there's so many beautiful
Okay.
ones. Okay. Teresa is saying, I believe my daughter came to me through a dream. It was the happiest and calmest I have ever been since. It has only happened once. Do you ever receive messages in dreams? Did this really happen, or was it just wishful thinking?
Okay, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is never again say, did it really happen? Because it did. And that's the human logic that kicks in the next day, and we're frightened to own it, you know, in case we're deluding ourselves. But here's the thing. In a dream state, you go between two worlds. Your body goes into a stasis, your mind is allowed to expand, and that is what I call a thin place, where two worlds meet. So every night you go, you might not remember it. The brain doesn't always hold the memory of the spirit. But the one thing you said in that, Teresa, was it was the calmest you'd felt. So what's happened there is you've gone in to that spirit vibration. And in that you've met and you've brought a little bit of what she feels back with you. And she allowed that. She gave you that. So own that. Don't doubt it. And it can happen for all of us in dreams. Dreams is the one way we can truly connect, or they can drop messages and little drop-ins. So make notes of dreams, especially if there was a feeling with the dream. Sometimes a dream is just a dream, but it won't touch you. But when a dream touches you, there's an essence to it, a quality. And that quality tells you it's come from a higher vibration.
Beautiful. Annie's asking, can my son send me messages through animals? I had a squirrel in the house yesterday near the altar I have for my son, and it came back at the same time early morning today.
Well, again, everything's possible with spirit. And I like when people do get their own kind of signature message. If it is animals, fantastic, because you will probably get random animals appearing here, there, and everywhere. And as I said to someone earlier, ask them for your sign of the day. And if your son's chosen animals to be his means of communication, then animals is what you're going to get. So try and think about what was going on in your mind when the animal appeared. Okay? Because usually, and it's actually something very, very old that a lot of the tribal, North American Indian tribal people did, was when they would see a particular animal that had significance, like an eagle, they would stop and think, okay, what was going on in my mind right at that moment when that bird appeared? Because that represented higher perspective, looking at whatever problem you had or whatever was going on from a higher perspective. So when the spirit gives us a sign, look at it from their perspective, because that's really what they're showing us. Look down on whatever you're thinking of at that moment. So whenever your boy shows you squirrels or anything else he throws at you, and think, what was going on in my life at that time, or what was going on in my mind? Is there any things? And then see it from that eye view. Now, look at the symbology of a squirrel. What does it do, and what does it do at this time of year? It's storing things. It's preparing for the winter. Okay, winter's not a bad time, guys. A lot of people see winter as a bleak, bad time. It's not. Not if you prepare. You prepare for the days to come, Mum. That's really the message in that, I feel. Prepare for the times coming up. So when we prepare for it, it's not so harsh. We survive winters when we've prepared for them. So I feel your boy's telling you to prepare emotionally, mentally going forward. I really do. Don't go gathering nuts. Actually prepare better memories and fun things for going forward.
That's great. I love that. Thank you.
That. I think her lad's very funny, though. That's the thing. I think there's a sense of humour there with him that I like. So.
Someone is asking, Andrea's asking, do you think that saging helps to clear negative energy? Do you sage? Do you believe in saging?
Look, again, belief is not a part of my life. If somebody needs to do a ritual or likes to do a ritual, they should do a ritual. And I'm not wanting to take things away from people unless I can replace it with something else. And if somebody feels that, does it make you feel better? Then do it. So I think it's about where you are on the path. Some people need to do things and then later on go, I don't need to do that. But it's not right or wrong. It's what it makes you feel. That's the most important thing. And it smells nice, so it's okay.
Yeah. I think we all know the answer to this, but I'll ask it.
Yeah.
Is it true that spirits, our loved ones, leave us after a while because we are progressing?
Well, I think when you've truly loved and made a bond, that bond is forever. But I think what happens is, as you progress, obviously they're already progressing. So we can measure where we are by the distance between us, or by the lack of need that you had yesterday compared with the day before and the day before. So you measure yourself. And also it's almost like as you understand it more, because we don't see you get over it all the way quickly, but you understand it. Then if you imagine, if you have an understanding, then so do they. And that journey hasn't stopped. You're still running on a parallel journey. So as you grow, they grow. And as they grow, you grow. So there's a whole going on. It's not finished. There's things you've got to learn about them in the afterlife that you didn't know. And there's things they've got to see from their perspective about you that they didn't know. So this whole thing keeps going and traveling, but there will be gaps, spaces, expansion. It's all about growth. The whole thing is about expansion and growth. So yeah.
Beautiful. Will they give up trying if we aren't getting the signs that they are sending to us?
No. And once again, that would be thinking of it in a kind of human capacity. Human beings get tired and fed up with things, and then they run out of sympathy and compassion. Spirit don't. So they will just keep giving you the signs, and keep giving you the signs. They just, it was like one woman who came to me some years ago, and her beautiful son had taken his own life. And there was a point during the reading, I said, Ma'am, do you have a box that's full of feathers? And she said, yeah. How do you know? And I said, your son keeps giving you them. And she said, oh my God, is that where they're coming from? She said, I just started collecting them. And she said, I never thought it would be from him. And it became a thing for her. And she said, do you know what? I'm going to make a quilt or a cushion and put them all into that. And we'll call it John's cushion. And that's what she did. But she didn't realize that he was giving her signs. And I said, may I ask, do you always find feathers when you're down? She said, yes. And I said, well, there you are. Every time you find one, he's trying to put a smile on your face. So let him do that, except that he's trying to make his mum happy.
Beautiful. I love this next question. And so many people ask about the concept of time. I've heard that what is the rest of our lives is just seconds to our loved ones that have crossed over. Can you address the concept of time?
Well, yeah, I mean, to us, there's no time when we go to sleep. When you're in a true sleep, I don't mean a restless sleep. So you're out of time. If I go into a a proper meditation, I'll go out of time. Time's only relevant to the body and the brain, the logic. It needs to measure things. And that's even the case for a bigger scientific picture of looking at reality. Even Einstein says reality is what we can measure. But spirit are not in this reality unless we are kind of communicating with them or they're communicating with us. So they are timeless, completely timeless. And you are in time, we're all in time. But there's moments where we can go out of time. And I hope some of you get that if you practice your meditations and things, that you just feel a timelessness, like, wow, where did time go? Because that's what it's like for a spirit being. They're not held to anything. We are compressed into these measurements. They are not. So a moment in the spirit world is like, wow. And it's why people who have like a near-death experience or an out-of-body type come back feeling like they could change the world, because they've felt the spirit self, which is not in any way held back. It's a sense of freedom. And that's where all these beautiful children are, in a stasis of complete freedom where it's like, wow, above time. And the great thing about time is, if you're not in time, you can see in all time. So you can see the past, the present, and the future, because you're above it. So that's why sometimes they will give you little messages to say, this is going to happen or that. Not big predictions, but to let you know, we can see the timeline that you're on. So remember that, guy, you're on a timeline until you change it, or you may stay on that same timeline. It's a whole big subject, which I usually love time, but I don't think we have time to do the whole time question. We'll visit it.
Okay. A mom is asking if her son will greet her when her time to pass comes. Does the spirit world tell you that whoever we want to be there for us will?
Well, I don't think it's even a case of want. I think it's a case of connection and bonding. So I think when you've truly bonded with a person in your life, and I always say that, I think for mums and children, and for dads as well, but for mums more importantly, I think, because I always tell people this, a mother is the first connection that everybody will have. So hers will be the heartbeat that you felt first. Her heartbeat and your heartbeat synchronized when you were growing. So that heartbeat becomes a rhythm that you never forget. And that vibration is the vibration of you and she. The same can happen with siblings. The same can happen with partners, friendships, animals. We can form a bond. Now that would be your, if you like, this party to come to greet you. You know, your welcoming party as you go over. And it's all to do with love connections and friendship connections. So that the moment you go over, you gravitate to the vibration you're most comfortable. And that would be around those you're closest to. So yeah, that boy will be there.
Beautiful. Oh, this is interesting. How do you keep all of our kids from trying to get your attention and interrupting you now? Do spirits interrupt you when you're giving a talk?
No. The different thing is, if I am opening to do that kind of thing, then whoom, they'll all be there. They're all here, but it's a case of sometimes my guides were there and they will let me know, yep, bring this one in, or give a message, or don't. So my guides, whom I've worked with since I started this, I trust them. And when they bring messages forward, I won't stop them. I'll let them do that. But sometimes they'd rather teach or do something different that day. But it doesn't stop them being there. Remember, they're actually in a different vibration, which can be accessed just by the turning of a channel, if you like, boom, and then messages would come pouring forward. Yeah.
Very interesting. Oh, Elena is asking, do you recommend past life regression sessions for better understanding this life and the connection we have to our children?
Well, if there's a positive side to past life regressions, it would be learning how to deal with stuff that you don't understand about yourself in this life. That would be the only benefit you would really see, because you are an accumulation of everything you've ever been right now. So the answers are all in here. So you can find them, but it can also be identified in the things that you've done in this life. So you are a condensed version of all your lives. If you see your lives in many, many journeys, then you are the condensed version of it. You know, like the Russian dolls, if you go looking, you'll find what you need to find to make that easier to actually sort out. One of the things I would say, where people have problems in this life that they don't understand, I see that like a computer program, that's a program that never shut down. It's still sitting on the screen. Somebody needs to put it away. So if we find stuff that we don't like or we don't understand, we need to accept it, see it for what it is, then put it back into the hard drive. Okay, we're done with you now. Go. I no longer am afraid of elevators. I'm no longer afraid of swimming or something. So we deal with that and then we put it back to the hard drive. It was a lesson.
Well, maybe you can help me with elevators because I don't like elevators at all.
I don't have a problem with this.
A couple moms are asking about spirit guides. How do we know who our guides are? How do we connect with them? How do we find them?
Well, again, just a little bit like doing the little exercise we just did. You can take your mind into a nice quiet space like that, send out a thought to your guide. The way I ask somebody to ask their son to guide them or give them guidance, they ask your guide. You have to first start communicating. I think a lot of people, when they look at guides or mediumship and development, they're waiting for the spirits to come and throw this abundance of information at them. And that's not how spirit guides work. Spirit guides will give you very little information because they know too much will cause you confusion. So quite literally, it would be like, for me, finding spirit guides and the patience aspect of it was like joining a Shaolin temple. You wanted the answer, no, patience. And you kept being taught patience, patience. But it was worth it. So if you truly are on the path where you want to connect with a guide, you open up communication. You make first contact. Okay, I'm here. If you can find a way to show me who you are, I'll wait. Be patient and then see where you're guided. I think a lot of people's problem with that is now. I want it now. So spiritual development isn't run by Kodak. It's not Instamatic. It's something that really is an ongoing and patient thing. Because the patient side of it is where you learn, not the experiences that are big. They just happen and then they go. But it's the unfolding of something that actually gives it value. When something, it truly opens and not just a grasp at something or a glimpse of something. You want the full thing, the full opening. Yeah.
Thank you. Beautiful. I think we only have one question, and I know Jackie wanted to spend a little time and give us some information. Shelley's asking, or she's saying that she never met her father. He had died. Could he still be connected to me or to my son who has passed? And I think I know what you're going to say.
I would say that all of these things are possible because even if you never met him, he's still part of that kind of lineage. I also believe there's like a spiritual DNA that connects us, not just a physical DNA, that there's a spiritual DNA that we can actually connect to loved ones going back, or we can make connection to places. I don't know if any of you have ever done this. You go to a place and think, oh my God, I feel so at home here. But maybe find out, oh, somebody in my family lived there or worked there. I've recently just found out about a part of Scotland where I'm so at home that my great-grandparents came from there. And I didn't know that before. But I go there to take photographs, to paint. It's one of my favourite places. And I never knew that DNA-wise lies up there. So I think there's a spiritual DNA that we can connect to as well, that takes us into a different side of our ancestors. Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Gordon. Oh my goodness.
Well, I hope that's okay, Irene. I really do. It was just a pleasure to spend an hour with you guys. It really was.
Oh, we just love you so much and are so grateful that you are a part of helping parents heal, honestly. And I'm glad it's only late afternoon on the East Coast, because I feel like my energy is so high right now. I couldn't imagine having to wind down. I'm glad I have some time, but I'm going to turn it over to Jackie now. Hi, Jackie.
Hello, Irene. Actually, Elizabeth done such a beautiful job of talking about the website. There's very little for me to say. I just wanted to share the art website where Gordon does all of his paintings. They're all available to purchase, and all the proceeds go to helping parents heal. But as I say, I think Elizabeth said it all. So I'd really rather not take up your time, but just thanks for allowing me on this evening. It's wonderful as always.
Oh, well, thank you both. We so appreciate it. And We always ask everyone to unmute themselves and to say thank you. And I hope we can schedule something soon. And I know Gordon will be speaking to the dads group, and that's just so wonderful. So thank you, Gordon. We love you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
Man,
Thank you.
Gordon.
Thank you so much.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Gordon.